So most people don't know this, but back in 2015, I was a complete epic failure on America's Got Talent. It was in the middle of my time in the film industry. At the time, I was doing things like falling off scaffolding and getting punched by better looking people than I am. And I went on AGT because I thought it was going to be an opportunity to have some fun, showcase a couple weird, quirky things that I had out there, and maybe make a couple people laugh. It very much did not work. And the internet backlash that I personally experienced put me into depression for 3 straight weeks. People finding my email and telling me to kill myself, comments on Reddit, comments on Twitter. They say you're never supposed to read the comments about yourself. I did. Don't do that. So when Matt Freese made that mistake in the U.S. men's national team match against Belgium, the internet backlash was unsurprisingly massive. It was the same kind of abuse I remember seeing back in 1986 when I watched Bill Buckner have that ball go through his legs in Game 6 of the World Series against the Mets. I was an 11-year-old kid watching on an 8-inch black and white TV that I still happen to have in my basement. One defining moment. One situation that Lord knows you wish you could have back, or an opportunity to change. And that's what Matt Freese, more than any other person on this planet, would like to have back after that one moment that happened. Was it a mistake? Absolutely it was. But what fans forget is the fact that that team collectively lost. That team had one shot on goal 81 minutes in. That team was not prepared for the match that was there against Belgium. And it's the same kind of situation I saw with Bill Buckner back in 86. No one remembers that he had 2,700 career hits, 20 years in Major League Baseball. And in 1986, drove in 102 runs. All they remember was the one moment, that one 5-second moment that happened. Sports loves very simple stories. Win, a hero is legendary. Lose, you get blamed. It's easier than discussing tactics. It's easier than discussing roster construction. It's easier than asking why the United States gave Belgium opportunities through 90-plus minutes. Was that moment deflating? Absolutely it was. Was that moment a massive gaffe? Hell yeah it was. Not going to argue that one. But in sports and in life, I think people like to look at one person as being the face of failure. Criticism is absolutely fair. Matt Freese himself will probably tell you that he wishes he had that moment back. Actually, I'm trying to set up time to actually talk to him and talk about that moment and his career along the way. Maybe in some weird way, I want to defend him. And I know that's going to get a lot of hate from the internet. And I know it's going to get a lot of hate from people who want someone to blame. I've already seen the comments coming directly towards me from people because of the fact that I actually went out and defended him. Honestly, I think sometimes goalkeeper might be the cruelest position in sports. Striker can miss 4 chances and suddenly score a winner. Quarterback can throw 3 touchdowns and an interception. Eli Manning had a mediocre career, but had 2 massive games against the Patriots, and suddenly the Hall of Fame conversations come in. Does he get the Hall of Fame? Does he not? Different conversation, different time. Basketball player can miss 10 shots, hit a game winner, he's a hero. A goalkeeper, 1 minute can erase 90 minutes of brilliance. And that, unfortunately, is the reality of the position. What concerns me isn't just what happened to Matt Freese. It's how quickly social media amplified it. Within minutes, thousands of people became experts. Everyone wanted the funniest meme. Everyone wanted the harshest take. Everyone wanted the most likes, the most retweets. The algorithm rewarded outrage. And as someone who has seen this movie before, Bill Buckner, Steve Bartman, we'll put Steve Bartman into that. One simple fan who sat there and tried to get a foul ball maybe he shouldn't have gotten. And suddenly he became the face of Chicago ire. Never mind the fact that the entire team gave up 8 runs that inning. But Matt Freese now has a choice. Is this moment going to define him or become part of his story? There's a saying in Japanese Zen, fall down 7 times, get up 8. And that's what athletes do when they have to answer that question the same way. Is this brutal to him? Yes. It's probably the worst defining moment in his life, exacerbated by backlash that I think he's never really received before. And that backlash can be very difficult. For the sake of making sure this video does not get me demonetized, I will say that I went to a very dark place when people started tracking down my phone number and my email and were that obsessed with telling me how much I sucked at life and how much I should basically end it. So for Matt, I feel the need to defend him a little bit. One bad moment defining an entire career. One bad moment he may never escape from. But one bad moment that I think could provide an opportunity to make it a footnote. But it's entirely up to him. Just like it was entirely up to Bill Buckner 40 years ago. You know, there was an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where Bill Buckner saved a baby. I remember I was actually a background actor in that episode when he saved the baby, and also when Larry David had the ball go between his legs. I was there. I watched it. And I saw the parallels immediately. And you could see this look of gratitude on Buckner's face when this episode was being written basically for him. And his redemption arc in that episode I thought was fantastic. For Matt, I've known him for 4 years. I remember him when he was an unknown backup to Luis Barraza. And in my first interview with him, which was arguably one of the first interviews he ever had in NYCFC, I asked him a question. DC or Marvel? And he responded with Asimov. And that impressed me. That's not the kind of answer I'd ever get from a lot of players. So, at the risk of whatever fan backlash I am going to get on this, what do you think? Do you think Matt deserves the hate? Do you think he deserves more hate? Let me know in the comments. Stay well.